Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do me a favor and smash the like button, hit the share button as well. Good morning to all my wonderful followers, subscribers, members, and of course, the haters that we live rent-free with on a day-to-day basis. I hope you're all doing very well indeed. I am. It's a beautiful Sunday. Nice bit of beef in the oven cooking away. It's nice not having football for a weekend as well, as far as I'm concerned. Thank you very much for subscribing. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Make sure you are all hitting that subscribe button, turning on the bell notifications as well. I got confirmation through today. The announcement is coming very, very soon. I know I'm building this up. But the reason I'm so excited is the new content that's coming along with the Football Terrace. Content that I've been holding back from making for like 2 months. We've really taken a sort of a back step. You know, we stopped there's loads of things we stopped doing a few months ago in preparation for the next stage of the Football Terrace. So I just want to say a big thank you to each and every single one of you that's stood through us through this last little while. Who we're partnering with and how we're moving forward is just everything will stay the same, but there'll be bigger and better and more frequent shows. We're growing the program. A lot of your favorite hosts we're going to be integrating into different shows. There's new people getting on board. It's going to be absolutely amazing. But we're here to talk Chelsea this morning. We're here to talk about this confirmed rumor that Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea may turn to Lukaku if they're unsuccessful in signing Erling Haaland from Borussia Dortmund this summer. Now, I think it's fair to say that Chelsea are going to try to move heaven and earth to bring in Haaland. But it does stand out as being an interesting, I wouldn't even call it a rumor. Fairly credible journalists have come out. This was one of those rumors that was sort of treading water for a couple of months. Every few weeks over the last 3 or 4 months, I've seen Lukaku's name mentioned in more opinion pieces as opposed to genuine transfer links, as it were. And those two things are sort of different. You often see those 3 players that could save Chelsea's season or whatever the title is. And it's now been confirmed by Christian Falk that Thomas Tuchel will look to try and bring Lukaku back to Stamford Bridge should the Haaland deal not come off. And my first thought was it might be difficult to prize Lukaku away. I know that he did an interview not long ago where he confirmed that he doesn't think that he would. I think his time in England is done, as an example. But never say never. Never say never in the transfer market. Chelsea could make him an offer of a lifetime. And what an alternative to Haaland. If you don't get Haaland, who is one of the best goal scorers, best finishers in the world, and who's got this base to go on to do something absolutely tremendous, why not bring Lukaku in? We know he can score goals in the Premier League. I believe with the way Chelsea play, he'll be facing his opponents as opposed to facing his own team a lot more, Lukaku, which will give him ample opportunity to put the ball in the back of the net. And they create the chances, Chelsea. They simply don't put them away with the current crop of players they have at the club. But I do want your views. I do want your opinions. I want to know what you are thinking and feeling in relation to this. As we've said, it's starting to circulate a lot now in terms of going forward. Thomas Tuchel's interest in Lukaku. Simon Phillips talking about it this morning. We obviously know Christian Falk tweeted about it yesterday. Just a mere 10,000 not retweets, likes. People press the like button a lot more than the retweet button these days, don't they? Which I find interesting on social media. But for me, I think this would be a good move for Chelsea. Legitimately think it would be a good move. We know they're looking at other players, Haaland being the number 1 target. There's a number of centre-backs they're looking at, including Jules Koundé. There's a number of midfielders that they're looking at as well to try and bolster this squad. And Chelsea, the rumours are going to be rife. Remember this, when it comes to Chelsea, you are going to be linked with so many football players. And at the same time, a number of the rumours will be true. Whether or not you land those players is another matter. Chelsea Football Club are impeccably run. When you're an impeccably run football club, you will tend to have a number of links to your club over the course of the summer for 2 reasons. One, everybody wants to be linked with you to better their own circumstance elsewhere. Everybody does. By the way, you also get linked to a lot of players if you're an awful run club that just throws money at everything. But when you're a well-run club like Chelsea, you'll be linked. Agents and players will use Chelsea as a mean and a mechanism to get better deals where they are, force moves through elsewhere, etc. Ideally, this move in itself could be used by Chelsea to try and force Borussia Dortmund. If the reports are Chelsea are going to offer the most amount of money to Borussia Dortmund, if Borussia Dortmund are thinking of not accepting it, Chelsea looking like they might sign somebody else could be that sort of tempter to that could be a tempt that could be to tempt Dortmund into accepting it as an example. But Chelsea will be linked with a vast number of players this year, and the main reason that's going to be is there isn't just going to be one option. So Chelsea are not going to say we want a creative midfielder, a centre back, and a striker. These are our three main targets. Let's go out and just talk to them and their representatives to try and get that deal done. Because so many things can go wrong, even with the best teams in the world. Injuries can crop up. Players decide they don't want to move for whatever reason. Their family don't want to move. So they say, right, I'm going to stay in Spain or I'm going to stay in Italy or whatever it may be for one more year. There are a number of things that can crop up and can go wrong at any one time. Maybe Chelsea need to sell a player in a particular position to be able to bring somebody in because they want to be able to balance the books to a certain extent. And that deal falls through, so they can't move somebody on. All these things take place. So what Chelsea do to circumvent that is you have a number of options. You start talking to the Haalands, of course, but you keep the Stoke in the iron for the likes of the Lukakus of this world. You have a number of options. Top options that you would like to see come in that could improve your club. That way, if something goes wrong, there's a contingency plan if you feel it's needed. That's what well-run clubs do. If you don't have that in place, what tends to happen is you either have to wait a year or so to land that player again, which can be problematic for a team, or you end up panic buying. You end up getting to the last day of the transfer window and you buy 2 or 3 players that you haven't been linked with all summer, that nobody knows too much about or are over the hill, and it ends up going backwards. And when you sign players that the manager doesn't really want or the club don't really need, it's always a recipe for disaster. No doubt about that whatsoever. Terry, show us Lukaku's stats. What stats? I mean, stats are vast. What do you want to see? And we can have a little look. But also smash that like and that share button for us this morning, people. Or this afternoon, actually. It's already gone 12. Can't believe it. Had a busy start to my day. iTest here, my guy, says United should get him back. He's a top 5 striker in the world. Ollie is a clown for selling him. Okay, cool. I love iTest. I love iTest. The quintessential Ollie outer. I love him. Chelsea fan, he didn't have a good first season, and his second season, the whole club were poor. I don't know what we're talking about here. I don't know what player that's about. Chelsea flop goes back to Chelsea. I wouldn't even say it was a Chelsea flop. He just didn't. The problem Chelsea have, and I still don't know if they're past it. When a young player is delivering, they'll get opportunities. If a young player is going through an inconsistent period, they'll always look to bring somebody more consistent in, because Chelsea are a team that have a good structure, generally speaking, but it's we want to win now and in the medium term and in the long term. There isn't this case of like Liverpool. We're happy to wait 3 or 4 years to build a team that can win something. There isn't the patience with Roman. So sometimes you get young players, KDBs, Lukakus, etc., that are just they fail due to the environment that they're in. Not that it's toxic or bad, but it isn't always conducive with a player that's finding his feet, because they're just the expectation levels at Chelsea are just relentless. And we see that all the time. It's why I've said before, with all the talent that are currently at Chelsea, the players that have been intermittent this year, you may find one of them is already gone inside 1 year of being at the club. You really, really could. Chelsea's squad will be strengthened next season. Chelsea's squad depth is not good enough to challenge, even with Haaland, Chelsea are top 4 merchants. See, bro, I completely disagree with that. They already have a good level squad. The only way that the overall squad doesn't improve is if they sell too many of their stars to fund the 3 or 4 players they sign coming in. I don't think that's going to happen. You may see 1 or 2 go out, but I think Chelsea's squad and bench next year is going to look dangerous. I think you're wrong to actually think that. I really, really do. We're going to open up the lines, though, for you to have your say, for you to come on, for you to do what you've got to do. I'm going to share the links now on the general chat page on the Discord server. So I'm going to do that now. I'll write the little message. Call in now. What's that say? We are live. Come with your point, sir. I had a lovely caller come on a couple of days ago, and he said, I don't really have much to say. I just want to say hello, which is very nice. Have your point. Have your points ready. Link's been shared. Want to hear from you. Jay Knows here says Lukaku is world class and could be the missing piece we need at Chelsea. He could be. And do you know what it comes down to? Everybody wants the best. And Lukaku's looked, Haaland's looked at as being the best right now. But if you can't get him, if someone like Igao is right and he's like, no, actually, I'm going to wait a year and go Man City, or no, I want to go to Real Madrid. There was a big report coming out yesterday that Real Madrid are going to try. I mean, I didn't read too much into it, but basically suggested that Real Madrid are going to try to sign Mbappe and Haaland. Which, if that happens, or if that doesn't happen, if Real Madrid just go for Haaland, he might choose to go there. Chelsea then have to have an alternative plan. They're a well-run club. They do things properly. They will. And Lukaku would be a fantastic alternative. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. And the Haaland thing, if Haaland's willing to wait a year, I suppose it is doable, really. If Real Madrid, because it's only £70 million to buy Haaland in a year's time, which you might then find, that's why Dortmund might try and force the sale through this year to bring in an extra 30, 40, 50 million pound. There we go. We only need a striker. Our defenders have proven us wrong. Rudiger, 22 games with 16 clean sheets, world-class settings. Matthew there says Rudiger's performing at a world-class level. Who agrees? Who agrees? Get your comments in now. Smash that like and that share button, people. Are you crazy? Haaland is not the best. Doski is. Haaland is... Okay. I love you, I test. When I talk about wanting to sign the best, don't take it as an all-encompassing comment. Lewandowski is unavailable, so no one's looking at him. So when I say teams want to sign the best, it's sign the best that's available and attainable. If you're not, it's like I want to sign the best centre back in the world, but there's no point me as a fan or a club setting my hopes as a Man United fan on signing Virgil van Dijk, because it isn't happening. So it's the best of what you can get. So maybe I should I'm not going to rephrase it, because those things are a prerequisite. Everybody knows and understands that I test. They really, really do. We're going to go to some of your calls. I'm also going to share the link now in the live comments section as well, so you guys can get hold of that. So look, Ronnie here, who's a Chelsea fan, says Lukaku's hold-up play would suit Chelsea more than Haaland, with our quick inside wingers being played in behind him. So Ronnie there sounds like he'd prefer Lukaku to Haaland. Does anybody else agree? First caller we're going to get on the show is Abs. Abs, welcome back to the terrace, mate. What do you want to say?
All right, Terry, I'm going to wind a few people up by saying this, but I want to tell you this right now. I don't want Lukaku anywhere near my club. That guy, first and foremost, you can talk to me about stats and the fact that he's a proven goal scorer, but I don't want just a goal scorer. I want someone who's going to give me more than just goals and bring more people into the game. Lukaku, the whole thing about hold-up play is a load of rubbish, because you saw in his last season at United, all he was doing was just, Martial was laying it on a plate for him and he was still missing. I don't want that guy anywhere near my club. Furthermore, he's disrespected us on multiple occasions, even though it was Mourinho who got rid of him, not the club. So no, I don't want him. Keep him as far away from us as possible. In my opinion, not even in the top 5 strikers in the world. This isn't me being emotional. This is me being objective. Don't come near Lewandowski, Haaland, who else is there? Harry Kane, Benzema. Even Immobile is better than him. He's rubbish. I don't want him anywhere near my club. As an all-round footballer, he's not all that. He's a good goal scorer, but as an all-round footballer, he's not all that.
See, I can understand your reaction, because we did see him struggle at Manchester United, and there is the fear that he would come back to the Premier League and those flaws and those problems would persist again. We know that he's done very, very well in Italy. It could just be a horses for courses element, that he just suits that league and Conte's style. I don't profess to be a connoisseur. I wouldn't suggest that Conte's style is the same as Tuchel's in any way, shape or form. So it's a real interesting one. Haaland, so you'd be just, by what you're saying, you'd be disappointed with if Lukaku came in.
Disappointed. I'd be pissed if he came in. I don't want that guy anywhere near my club. And it's not even, as I told you, it's it's also from, I've got morals as a club. Obviously, I want the best players, but I don't just want some random ballers coming who disrespect us. So even when he left, and Courtois last year when he was basically the best keeper in the world, I still said if there was ever a chance to sign Courtois, if he wins 3 Ballon d'Ors and 3 Champions Leagues, I don't want him anywhere near my club because he snaked us and dissed us. Lukaku did the same thing. The Belgian bloke who lives in Manchester, he did it as well. There's too many people who've come and decided to disrespect us. I don't want them anywhere near my club. And it wasn't even us, it was Mourinho. I bun Lukaku. He can get in the bin as far as I'm concerned. There's multiple strikers better than him.
Big words there. We're going to add some more callers. This Itet is backstage, Rams backstage, and another Abs is backstage as well that we're going to get onto the stream. Make sure you're smashing that like button, sharing this stream on your social media platforms as well. I just want to also reiterate something else that's kind of been said in the last few hours. Arsenal fans, you may be interested in this. First point is that there was a big rumor in the week that there was a problem between Borussia Dortmund and Tuchel regarding the signing of Haaland. That appears to be completely false. That's been confirmed as false, that there's no problem there. So that won't be a stumbling block for Chelsea. In other news, Arsenal are confident that they're in pole position to land Odegaard. But there is a report. So Chelsea are looking at attacking midfielders. We know there's been some very loose, muted links not just recently, but over the past 3 or 4 months with a cut price move for Philippe Coutinho, but also Odegaard. Liverpool and Chelsea's name is being mentioned around Odegaard as well. So I want people's views and opinions on that as well. We're going to add more callers to the show. We're going to add Abs into this. Then iTest is coming. Abs, welcome to the show, mate. What are you saying?
I'm all right, Tal. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, bruv. I'm very good. What do you make of what the other Abs has said on the show about not wanting Lukaku anywhere near Chelsea? What's your thoughts on that, mate?
Firstly, he's being very emotional. He's not being objective about what he's saying. It's interesting because I've said this to people. I feel like Haaland is a Norwegian Lukaku. And the thing I want to see from Haaland, which I rate him very highly, anyone that plays Football Manager, love him, is how he does against a low block. Because an interesting stat I saw recently, in Haaland's last 3 games for Norway, they've ended 0-0. He struggled against a low block. And obviously, everyone knows in Germany, they all play higher up. Lukaku is a similar mold to Haaland. When Lukaku was Haaland's age, he scored goals as well. So I can understand why Tuchel wants him. He's a similar type of player to Haaland. So, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, what do you... I get you said that Abs is emotional. Do you think that Lukaku is on par with Haaland as a technical football player?
No. Like, for example, if Haaland... out of 10, what would you say Haaland is, Ads?
Haaland? Probably on pure skill or on finishing. Give me like criteria.
Technical ability. So as a footballer, what is he out of 10?
I don't know, probably 6 or 7, one of the two.
Okay, so if he's a 7, what is Lukaku?
5, just about.
That's not, I'll use Terry's words, that's not a significant difference. That's not a golfing class. That's what I'm saying. They're very similar players. Haaland is a couple years younger, and it makes sense to buy him, but it makes sense why Tuchel goes, okay, if you can't get me Haaland, get me Lukaku, because that's a similar mold of player that will eat anything. So it makes sense. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but listen, Abs, I'm going to try and explain it to you again. First and foremost, Lukaku isn't even one of the best finishers that the world has ever seen. He just you need to give him 3-4 chances and then he'll score. Haaland's 1-in-1. Remember one sec, Abs.
Yeah.
Remember last year in the Champions League against PSG, he got put in a scenario 1-on-1 with the keeper, bang, top bins. You see Lukaku doing that? Not happening, man. Trust me, Haaland is the future. Haaland is the modern day man. Lukaku's rubbish. He's rubbish, Lukaku.
Okay, Terry, I'm going to plagiarize you here because you've said this a lot of times, which I agree with. Dude, Lukaku is like Rashford and all of these other people. You only remember his worst parts about him. But if you go look at Lukaku's stats and his goal scoring and finishing, he's actually a very good finisher. Your statement of he's not a top 5 striker is absurd. I will not take Immobile over Lukaku. A stat came out yesterday. He's the quickest person to 58 goals in Europe. Only Jared Muller's done that. You can't say you can't care. Okay,
stats
so why? Okay, you're
That's
saying
not
that,
relevant.
yeah.
They're not relevant in this. I want
Okay,
because
ads.
no, hold
Okay,
on,
ads.
Abs.
If you're
No,
saying
listen,
if you're saying
hold on.
stats are not relevant, okay,
They're not
why
relevant in
why
this because I need a
why
striker
does
who's going to score me goals. Haaland can score goals and brings more to the game. Lukaku runs, he has a donkey touch. He's useless.
and Haaland has a great touch? Are you
Better
actually?
than
Do you
Lukaku.
watch?
Lukaku's
Do you watch
awful.
Haaland? Do you watch Haaland every week?
I watch
do.
Haaland.
Not every week, but
No, so
I don't.
like I said, I watch German football, French football, Spanish football every week. Haaland is a great prospect, but this exaggeration of Haaland is not anywhere near Lewandowski, let alone all of this flabbergasting. Haaland's still got a lot to prove for me, and this thing of Haaland will score every single chance, again, that's false. Even like I said, Terry, plagiarizing you, Terry and Messi and Ronaldo miss clear-cut chances as well. So this thing of he will score every chance, I don't know where you are getting that from.
Gents, listen, great conversation. We're going to stay on point and on topic. We've got Ram with us as well now. Ram, what you saying, mate?
look, I thought Az is being a little bit emotional, you know. I think the disrespect towards Lukaku is unwarranted. No offense. I don't think it doesn't matter what you think about what you need for a striker, is what Tuchel wants. And I feel what Tuchel wants is a goal scorer. Like, you got the creative midfield, you got your Mounts, your DHs, you can even throw Pulisic in there. All you need is a clinical striker. That's all you need. I don't know why you're saying, oh, we need someone to bring in play. If you have three creative midfielders, you don't need a guy that holds up play, brings in other strikers, brings in other players such as ZX and Mount. You don't need that. All you need is a guy that put the ball in the back of the net. And that is what the sole purpose of Romelu Lukaku. That's what he does for Inter Milan for the last couple of years. And I don't know why you're getting all emotional about it, because frankly, I think Romelu Lukaku is still a top striker.
Points made there. We're going to add iTest to the stream as well to have his say. iTest, I know you're a big fan of Lukaku. What do you make of what Abs has said?
I think he's waffling. I'm hearing a lot of waffle because he's talking about I'm talking about the first guy. He's waffling a lot because he's talking about Lukaku don't bring a lot when he's not scoring. He has 8 assists in the league this season. Yeah, 19 goals. Yeah, and he's talking about don't bring a lot when he's not scoring. Who do you think holds up the play for Lautaro Martinez? Who do you think Lautaro Martinez plays off for? This guy.
To be fair, hang on. Just to back, I can't believe I'm saying this. Just to back up, iTest, Lautaro Martinez is not having a good season for Inter Milan, and he hasn't been scoring the goals that he did, which Romelu Lukaku has provided for him on numerous occasions last season and this season. That's why last season's stats for assists was quite good compared to this season.
And anyway, for me, I think all-round play, I think Haaland's a better goal scorer than Romelu Lukaku. But all-round play, if this guy's talking about all-round play, Lukaku's all-round play is better than Romelu Lukaku. Look, Haaland can't hold up the play like Romelu Lukaku. Even the dribbling, Lukaku's not the best of dribblers. I'm not saying that, but Lukaku's a better dribbler than him. He's a better passer than him.
Yeah,
he's a better passer than him. He's a better creator than him.
I'd love to keep listening more because I like what you're saying, but we're getting a problem with your microphone. Are you using a microphone?
No,
earphone.
I'm using my phone.
Have you got a pair of earphones to plug into it? You must have. Everyone's got earphones on their phone. Everyone has them.
I'll try and get some. 2 minutes.
Plug some earphones in and use the mic on the earphones, and trust me, it will change your world. It really will. We're going to add Lam into the show in a few moments as well. I wanted to ask the Chelsea boys as well. I'm going to have to say different names here. I can't call you both Abs because it's going to confuse me. Abs number 1 that first came on. What can I call you other than Abs?
Oh no, probably Abdi.
Abdi. That's cool. Abdi. Cool. I'm thinking that you might have another name. Abdi. I like that because they separate. Abdi. What's your thoughts on this rumor this morning that you might be looking at Martin Odegaard?
Ooh, Martin Odegaard. You know what? You know what it is? He's a very good player, and from what I see, he's had a very big impact on Arsenal. Not even take stats out of it in general. Just when you watch him play, you can see that he has brought a different dynamic to Arsenal. The problem is that I'm not necessarily sure if it's a good idea because remember last summer we spent 70 odd million on Kai Havertz, And when you invest that much money in someone, and you've already got Mason Mount there, and you got Hakim Ziyech there as well, who can play that number 10 role-ish, it's no good bringing Odegaard because we'll have 4 number 10s, and then what you'll see is there'll be other areas where we need to strengthen. So, for example, we still need another winger because Pulisic, as much as I love him, his hamstrings are made of glass. So we probably need someone who can come in as a backup. There's apparently this guy called Jonas Hoffman who was he for Bruce or Eintracht Frankfurt? He seems like a good shout. Or just anyone as a backup. We don't need Odegaard. We need like wingers, a DM, and a centre back.
I hear you on that one. We're going to add Lamin to the stream as well now. Lamin, welcome back to the terrace, mate. What are you saying, bro?
Yeah, I'm good, Terry, man. I'm good. What are you saying?
Yeah, I'm all good, man. Lovely Sunday morning. What's your thoughts on this Lukaku story that's starting to surface?
Yeah, I called it from early. I thought it was a good move. Don't get me wrong, I like Haaland, and that would be my first choice. But I think we just need to have alternatives, really. Can't just be chasing after one signing or one target the whole summer and then not have any alternatives for Chelsea. The first guy talking about like how Lukaku is shit and all of that, yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. He just sounded a bit emotional still. But Lukaku is a baller. And I said it from time. If we can't get Haaland, he is a good alternative to go for. So that's only if we can't get Haaland, because Haaland is still my first choice. But I'll be happy with Lukaku nonetheless.
Yeah. Do you know what it comes down to? Like I've listened to everybody, and my view is this. I think Lukaku is a good footballer. Do I think he's trash at hold-up play and approach play? No. I think that's a very emotional, hyperbolic way of looking at things. When he played for United, I felt like that some days because you're in the moment. Looking back, was he as bad as we made him out to be at times? No. Was he a good finisher? Yes. We just didn't create the opportunities for him as a club. By the time Ollie, I know ITES blames Ollie for him leaving, but it's not factually true. Lukaku didn't want to remain at Manchester United prior to Ollie coming in. They sat down, had conversations, and Ollie said, look, I'll respect the fact you want to go and I'll help you move on. The relationship had already been damaged. Lukaku, along with a number of players under Jose's leadership, just became disillusioned with the club. And when someone isn't bought in playing for you, it's very difficult to get the best levels of performance. We had Danny come on yesterday talking about Lingard. A lot of rumors that Lingard might come back to United. The problem is he was given the starting berth in essentially Bruno's role. Bruno comes in halfway through a season and he gets demoted. Once you've been demoted at a club for whatever reason, it's very hard to pick yourselves back up. Think about it this way. Imagine you're at work, you get a promotion, and then you get demoted and somebody takes your place in that position. It's going to be very difficult for you to maintain your work ethic and continue to push forward in the right direction. Most people become disillusioned and look to move to new departments, or if it's a smaller company, look to leave that organization. And I think that that's what happened with Lukaku at Manchester United. Has he got flaws? Yes. But 95% of players have a huge flaw in their game. They could be, and it's crazy. But what we have a tendency to do as fans is if we tend to focus so much on that. And Tiger Woods is an interesting example here. I remember reading something about him where he's all for getting out. I don't know how true this is in the grand scheme of things, but in the book I was reading, it was saying that when he was a youngster coming through, he wasn't very good at getting out of bunkers. It was like it was his kryptonite. So his dad was making him spend hours and hours a day practicing getting out of bunkers. And Tiger Woods' approach was this: no, it's stupid. I don't think I'll ever be that great at it. Let me work on my drive and I don't know what the second shot's called after a drive in golf, but let me work on that so it's so accurate that I very rarely land in a bunker, so I don't need to worry about getting out of it. And I love that positive approach. And that's what I think sometimes as football fans we need from our clubs for players. We know that X is one of our players' biggest weaknesses. So let's create a system where he doesn't need to do X too often. And that's what you're meant to do. We know, for instance, Trent Alexander-Arnold, is he an amazing one-on-one defender?
No,
Not really.
He's okay. He's not amazing. So what do? You have to create a system where you try not to expose him one-on-one. What do? You have a workman-like midfield in front of him that covers and protects his position. If this season, the defensive line of Liverpool has been exposed more than it normally has in recent times. So it's been opened up more because the weaknesses have been found out, the chinks in the armor, as it were. And that's the point here with Lukaku. If you try and play a style of football that highlights his weaknesses, he's gonna fail. If you bring him in and you play him to his strengths, it's going to work. In my opinion, Haaland's a better example, a better option.
Yeah.
Bigger ceiling. I think he is. I do think he has a better touch. I do think he has better approach play. Do I think it's 100 times better? No. I do think it is better, but I think Lukaku could work. The only caveat I throw into that is, like I said earlier, the styles of Conte and Tuchel, are they the same? In my view, no. People may disagree with me, and that's fair. And he kind of had a hit and miss career in the Premier League. It's whether he could mentally adjust and go, right, this time round at a big club in the EPL, I'm going to make it. It would be the mental adjustment I would be most concerned about.
Terry, Terry, I want to push back on that because I actually disagree with you with he had an up and down season, because when you look at Lukaku, as in he was the main striker, so take away the Chelsea bit because you can't use that. He scored, I think if you check the stats, average 15 to 20 goals a season. Even at Man United, when it was his worst season the second year, he still scored 15 to 20 goals. The one thing, and which I think Tuchel understands, is he knows how to score the goal. That's what Chelsea's been missing. And the question I would like to ask the Chelsea guys and the guys on the panel, because I think Chelsea need 2 wingers and a striker. It will be interesting to see who the sort of Chelsea fans think they actually need in sort of position-wise as well.
Yeah, I was going to add to that as well. I think I'm just going back on the Lukaku thing here. I think this whole agenda on Lukaku is so convenient. People conveniently just focus on his time at United, forgetting that Lukaku, before going to United, he was first at West Brom, where he killed it there. Then he went to Everton, where he killed it there. Was like one of the best strikers in the league. Yes, it didn't work out for him at United. I mean, yeah, that happens all of the time, yeah. But you can't take away from him the fact that he is one of the top strikers in the world, and he has proven it. He is Premier League proven, no matter what you say. I mean, Haaland, yes, is a great player, but one thing I would say is that he's still young, and he's not Premier League proven. We don't know how he's gonna play against a low block. Now, that's not to say that he can't play against low block, but we don't know. And I need to see it to believe it. I'm the sort of person like that.
You are right there about Haaland. You're absolutely right. But equally, that we know how Lukaku does against low blocks. Lukaku performed better in the Prem when he played for teams that gave him more time and space because there wasn't as much low block. I think it's easier for an Everton at times to get in behind and create those balls into the box for Lukaku to finish than it sometimes is when a team's sitting back and you have no space. You have to play through a team as opposed to going in behind. In Germany, from what I've seen, I don't watch enough of it, so please shut me down if I'm wrong. What I have watched, I don't really see dozens and dozens of teams a weekend sitting back behind the ball playing low block Sam Allardyce football.
No, only one or two. Yeah,
but they mainly do it for Bayern Munich rather than.
Yeah, so and again, in Italy, I know they're defensively good, but I don't watch it at all. So is low block football a tactic used a lot there?
Yeah, that's technically where it came from. That's the thing people forget is that
I'm asking to be educated, so that makes sense to me. So,
and Terry, sorry, I want to see if you could get a stat for me. What was Lukaku's goals for Man United? Like, how many goals did he get in a season?
Oh, I will find that out now.
I think he scored 27 in his first season. I don't know about the second season.
Yeah, I know it was 27 first season, 15 the year after. So he got 27 in 51. And then he got 15 in 45 for Man United. What's interesting is overall in his career, the lad's got 246 club goals in 498 games. Like, he is a serious goal scorer. There's zero doubt about it whatsoever. I test you with us still.
Yes.
Still that mic's still madness. We're going to add David to the stream. David, what you saying, mate?
Hey, Dave.
Hello. Oh, David. You there, Dave? I don't know what he's up to, but there we go. He ain't saying too much there. I don't know where he's gone or where he's up to in relation to that. Listen, I'm gonna take for both abs. Thank you both very much for coming on the show and having you. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. Appreciate that. Really good points being made. Listen, you can phone up and disagree with what we say on the Football Terrace. We're not gonna cry. If you think we've got something wrong or you've got a difference of opinion, come on and express yourself. You're allowed to do it. It's what it's here for. I'm not sure if David's there. I've muted him. He can unmute himself if he's about when he comes back. We've got Matty CFC on the line now. What you saying, bro?
You all right, Terry? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. What's on your mind?
I mean, I think having this kind of emotional bond against Romelu Lukaku is a bit stupid, really. If Tuchel wants him, he wants him. We've got to back the manager at the end of the day. I'm just a bit disappointed we're going backwards, really, rather than trying to get Haaland. But it would be a good alternative. You know, you've got to think about the stats, how he fits in. You've got to think about how he fits into the style of play. And if Tuchel says go for it, then go for it.
Yeah, I mean that's also the other argument, which I think holds a huge amount of water. If you've got faith in Tuchel, have faith in who he wants to come and bring in. Dave is now with us, but back home he is. Back home. Look at that, man's been doing his ironing as well.
Holidays, holidays, isn't it?
Yeah, I think just mad. That's one thing when you leave full-time education. And I've been out of it a while now. You suddenly realize like holidays come around, you're like, oh yes, Easter. You just forget. You just really forget. What's your thoughts on these links to Lukaku?
I'm not against it, but personally, I wouldn't go for it. I'm surprised at how many people are saying that Haaland can't play football. That really is shocking me. And then using Norway as the example. I guarantee people can't name 6 players in Norway. So to sit here and say that Haaland's not doing well in Norway, therefore Chelsea shouldn't sign him, makes no sense. There are 3 strikers I would want ahead of Lukaku. I'd prefer to have Haaland, I'd prefer to have Harry Kane, and I'd prefer to have his Inter teammate Lautaro Martinez, because I know he can at least, he's a good finisher and he can actually play football more than anything. Like, Lukaku's not an awful technical player, but he's not great. Lautaro can do what Lukaku does, but do it he doesn't have the physical build for it, but he's more elegant when you do it. So
I disagree.
I mean, again, if Tuchel really wants to, if he wants Lukaku and he brings in Lukaku, I've got no problem with it. Personally, for me, I'd go with 3 other strikers. For me, though, the biggest thing is getting rid of Tammy Abraham, because he's not signing his contract, and he's awful. He needs to go. I don't care what anyone tells me. He's a championship striker. But he's like a Patrick Bamford, all right? He's a Patrick Bamford. He's a rich man's Patrick Bamford, so he's got to go. Simple.
Listen, it's about improving the quality, and I do understand that. We've got Blue Clouds TV. This guy looks like he's got a proper setup, bro. This looks like a proper setup back there, you know what I'm saying? Bro, welcome. Look at that. Look at that.
Hey. Thank you.
I like that. I feel like I've been an inspiration to someone. Do you know what I mean? Look at that. It looks. Do you know what I mean? I love it, bro. Listen, brother. What's on your mind, man? What do you want to say?
Hey, Terry, can you tell me where the link is coming from about Lukaku coming to Chelsea? So where's that link coming from?
Link? Well, there's been a number of.
I mean, the rumors. Where is it coming from?
Well, so I'll explain. So there's 2 or 3 newspapers that I've read. The Telegraph mentioned it and a few others, and then Christian Falk yesterday tweeted and confirmed that Tuchel is looking at him as an option if they can't bring in Haaland.
Jesus Christ. Look, for the last time that I listened and then read about Lukaku, his boot size is about size 17 US size. You know what I'm saying? And then
the Wellingtons.
Listen. Look, I watched Lukaku play when he was in Manchester United. He's not proven playing the big teams, like playing among the big teams. But anytime he played the smaller teams, he's always have his way bullying the smaller teams to make that kind of numbers that he scores. Look, the Italian league and the Premier League is a far different animal game. The pace in the Italian league and the pace in the Premier League and the strength of the defenders in the Premier League is a way different thing. So do you think Lukaku is going to come around and be turning himself around the 18-yard box or up behind the 18-yard box like a snake shell? It's like when you spin a shell, how it goes around and cannot even kick a ball. Look, I want these rumors to just give me a break. I don't want to hear Lukaku come to Chelsea. But look, when he comes to Chelsea, I'll support him. But me, I don't want Lukaku at Chelsea. We're gonna keep our
So
Timo Werner. Timo Werner has been there for just one season. The guys need to give him a break for another season. If Timo Werner can do it again, then we can let him go.
Sorry, Terry, I might have to butt in here because the disrespect shown to Lukaku here, yeah, to me is just mad. It's so people just use this thing against Lukaku when it's convenient to them. You keep bringing up Man United, yeah, when he was there. As I mentioned, yes, it didn't work out for him for many different reasons. But you conveniently left out that he's been in the Premier League. He played for like 3 teams in the Premier League where he actually didn't do too bad. And you can't also go in and just fully disrespect the Italian league there as well. Like you said, he plays mostly against low block teams and he's actually killing it there. Most of the chances that we get here, give half of the chance that Timo Werner has got this season to Lukaku, yeah, and I guarantee you that he will score more than half of them. So you can't just sit here and disrespect the guy. Yes, he does. His touch is not the greatest. I'm not going to hear and defend him on that, yeah. But we're not buying him for the touch. We're buying him for his finishing ability. And Lukaku is a finisher. There is not many players in the world that can finish better than Lukaku, and that's what we need right now.
Well,
but listen, I understand what you're saying, brother. I understand what you're saying, brother. I do understand. Look at the position that Timo Werner is playing, and look at the position that Lukaku plays. Timo Werner is trying to dribble from the wings, turn in, cut in, and score a goal. That is different from what Lukaku does. Lukaku receives the ball with his back against the defenders. Timo Werner doesn't do that.
But it's doable. It's doable to have Timo Werner and or Lukaku and Haaland within the same team. Werner works brilliantly with Poulsen as the number 9 because what Timo Werner does, this is where people look at heat maps and don't understand them sometimes. That's where you play the ball. It isn't about your starting position. Look, Timo loves to drift out to that left-hand side. What you need in that case is one of 2 things. You need another striker that's going to dominate those central areas, or you need an inside forward on the left that's going to come in and occupy the inside. That hasn't really happened enough at Chelsea this year. So if you buy a Haaland or a Lukaku that dominates that central area as much as that, of course, there's going to be times when they drift out to a channel. That's just normal. And then you've got Timo Werner going out to the right. You've got someone in the middle that's potent that can finish the chances that's being created. That's almost where the hole is within Chelsea right now because you don't have anybody in your team that stepped up this season and been prolific. If you'd have had, there would be less talk about you needing a striker if you had a Bruno or Gundogan this season, a midfield player that was filling that hole. And that's what's happening at Man City this season. There's no out-and-out number 9 scoring the goals, but Gundogan's popping up from midfield it seems like every 5 minutes. He isn't, but every 5 minutes, and he's putting the ball in the back of the net. Chelsea need a goal scorer. Tuchel wants someone to do that. I think Lukaku could do a very good job. He has done it in the Premier League.
I know, Terry.
Yes.
Terry, I know Lukaku has done it in the Premier League, but we're looking forward. We're going forward. We want a proven striker. Look at his age. How old is he? 20 years.
We still
if we can let Jorginho goes. Jorginho is gonna go. We have proven players that can play in the midfield.
Why would you want to let Jorginho go?
Because if Jorginho doesn't play, we still can play. What's his name? What? Kante and
Jorginho doesn't play. Jorginho doesn't play.
Yeah. If Jorginho doesn't play, we got Kante over there that can pair with.
That's a good option.
That's a good option.
Let's bring it back to the main issue I had, which is Lukaku. I don't know why we're talking about Jorginho and the midfield. His age is not a problem for one. I disagree with your point there. His age is a good age to come in.
He's at his peak.
My thing is,
yeah,
if you look at Lukaku's best goals,
right,
they are when there is space in behind, when he's running at defenders, when he's shoulder to shoulder with defenders, he can outstrength them while running. The issue that it would have at Chelsea, if you look at the chances Chelsea are making and they're missing, it's more when they're in the box, crowded, surrounded, and then they have to take quick fire shots. They have to do quick combinations to get in, or even a cross in a short space, in a tight space to come in and score. Lukaku's best strengths do not suit the situations that Chelsea get themselves into, and that is the main issue with Lukaku at Chelsea. That's it's not because he's not a good striker. I just don't feel like his strengths will suit what Chelsea need, because you saw at United when we became a more progressive team, when we needed to actually be on the ball more, and he needs to be in the box. He was getting out strength, he was getting out muscled, and he wasn't ready for it. When we needed him to be the link-up guy, he would start counterattacks sometimes due to his inability to link up play well enough, quick enough under pressure. I don't think Chelsea and Lukaku would be a good suit.
But do you think that's what Tuchel wants? Do you think that's what Tuchel wants? Because for me, from the way they play, I feel like he just needs a goal scorer. That's it. And Lukaku is the guy. He's a target
he's a
man.
goal. But
And
look,
and he can get goals for you. I think that's what Tuchel wants.
Do you know what? Sorry, go on, KJ. Go on, bro.
yeah, he just want a goal scorer, but it's about how does a goal scorer score his goals? What's his best goals? Now, he'll get you a lot of headed goals. Lukaku will get a lot of headed goals, which is fine. But when a game is tight, when the game is compact, Lukaku is not the striker you need to get you a goal.
And that is the bit where that's the caveat. That's the one concern, because in the Premier League, Lukaku's always done well when he's been in a team that doesn't face low blocks and tight compact teams on a regular basis. No one sat back against West Brom, and maybe 10% of the league sat back against Everton. It's one of the things we were talking about yesterday, and I went and did the stats when somebody spoke about Jesse Lingard. Why is he now performing at West Ham? Well, if you look at Ashley Young, and this should be the standout case in point for people, I can't understand why pros haven't done more focus on this. 3 years before he joined Man United, he was always in the top 3 for most chances created in the Premier League. He averaged around 2.4 to 2.5 per game. Open play chances created. That didn't include corners and free kicks. Went to Man United, he never got above 1.7. That was his highest ever season. And the second highest was 1.3 chances created per game. Ashley Young wasn't good enough when he came up against compact teams playing low blocks that were stifling the space. And that's always got to be the question there. But you can also throw that at Haaland, because there's no evidence that he has done well yet in situations like that. And that's the risk. That's the risk of when you sign a player that one hasn't played in the Prem and hasn't played for a team that has everybody sit back behind the ball against them on a regular basis. You don't quite know. That's why I quite enjoyed seeing Jack Grealish play for England, because a lot of teams sit back against England and you can see how and what they do in those scenarios. I want to just a comment here that says, Terry Lowe, you're wrong. City are literally still targeting a striker regardless of them being first. So again, don't take my points as City are never going to want a striker to score goals because they've got a midfielder. City fans are not crying about a lack of goals because they've come from elsewhere. But you've always got to look to replenish and renew and freshen your squad up, because no matter whatever your system is, no matter how good you are, at some point teams learn to nullify it, because every team has a weakness. Unless you're like peak Barcelona, where you have 3 or 4 of the best players in the world balling at once, it's very difficult then. But I hear your point. I do hear your point. But of course, don't take my point as that's it. City are not going to sign a striker because Gundogan's got 12 goals. That isn't what I meant at all.
Okay, Terry, I'm going to say one more thing.
Go on, bro.
How good is Lukaku dribbling compared to Haaland's dribbling?
So we look at the stats. We look at the stats.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll do stats on this, because for me, eye test wise, aesthetically pleasing wise, there's always an element where I think to myself,
right.
I don't. Both of them are terrible under eye.
Neither of them are Eden Hazard.
Yeah, but on the eye, both of them look clunky. You're just like,
yeah. And that's because there's only one player that I know that I can think of who's over 6'2" over 6 foot in height, 6'1", 6'2" in height, who actually looks elegant when they dribble, and that's Paul Pogba. Zlatan does. Yeah, you're right.
Zlatan. I mean, I'm talking about the attack, not really in the midfield. Those that are attacking,
maybe most really tall, big men.
Yeah,
they're not graceful.
They're not
other than Lewandowski, but that's
Lewandowski's pretty good. So
yeah.
Not
even Ram, not even though.
No, stop it,
Dave.
Ram, not even.
If your name is not Benzema, Zlatan, or Paul Pogba, the whole tall man dribbling conversation is over.
Right,
it's done.
So should we play a little game with this? We're going to do a stat game. We're going to do a stat game now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go to one by one. Lukaku versus Haaland, like higher or lower. This should be a little bit of fun. Yeah, I was going to do a forfeit, but we haven't set that up, so we won't do it. So we'll start with dribbling. Okay.
Yeah.
They both attempt 3.5 dribbles per game. It's identical.
Okay.
I'm going to go to Lamin first. Who completes the most, Lukaku or Haaland?
Oh man, dribbling. Yeah, I'm gonna. I think it's Haaland. I'm gonna go with Haaland.
Haaland. So
Yeah.
Lukaku completes 50%. Haaland, 51%. You're right.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
And then dribbling is about the same. So let's do
Haaland,
some more.
baby.
Let's do aerial duels. Aerial duels, right? So Haaland competes for 3.6 per game. Wow. Lukaku completes for 6.5 per game, right? Who wins the most, though? Whose percentage win is the highest? I'm going to go to David on this one. Who wins the most headers?
I'm going to go Haaland again.
Of course, you're going to back your boy, aren't you?
Haaland, 38%.
I've lost.
Lukaku,
It's Lukaku.
57%.
Yeah, I've lost.
Lukaku is, and he's doing double the amount, so he's winning lots more.
Yeah.
The percentage is the important bit to focus on because Dortmund may not play the ball long too often or put as many crosses into the box, but if he's still winning the high percentage, that's there. So
Sorry, just to answer that, what did we call Chelsea on the Lampard? It was cross and what? Inshallah. So
Yeah, but we're not. Yeah, but we're not. Yeah, but we're not on the Lampard. So that
Right.
yeah, well, we still have reached in there.
So let's look at passing accuracy because obviously Lukaku is renowned for not being as good. So I'm actually going to go to the passing page to be really accurate with this. And what we'll look at is we'll look at wait for this to load. We will look at passes into the final third. Nah, better than that. Passes, forget passing because you go backwards a lot. Passes into the penalty area. That's important. That's very, very important. So look. Ooh, jeez. Right. So I'm going to go to Blue Clouds TV. Who completes the most percentage-wise per game? Lukaku or Haaland passes into the box?
I'll go for Haaland. 100% Haaland.
Haaland, 59% of his passes into the box are accurate. Lukaku, 54%. So Haaland has a 5% margin on it.
But Terry, does Lukaku attempt more though?
No, it's exactly the same. It's
the same.
1.67 and 1.69 each. It's like it's identical. In terms of overall passing accuracy,
yeah.
KJ, who's the best passer?
First touch. No good.
Now I will say Lukaku. I feel like he probably does more.
This is interesting. Lukaku attempts 20 passes per game. Haaland 16.
Yeah.
Haaland's pass completion rate is 70%. Lukaku's is 75%. So he attempts 5 more passes on average, and he completes 5% more. So on this, he's the better passer. In terms of creativity,
Terry, hold on. Lukaku is the best passer because he can hold on to the ball. He's willing to let the ball go so he can keep running behind defenders. That's all he does. So I'm not surprised.
You've got some mad agenda against Lukaku.
No, I don't. I don't.
Look at this support.
No,
post.
I don't.
I mean,
I'm just looking at the future. That's all. I'm just looking at the future.
Who creates the most chances per game for their teammates? I'm going to go to David. I'm going to go to Ram on this one. Lukaku or Haaland?
I feel it might be Lukaku because he plays with another striker, and Haaland's the main man for Dortmund up front. So I'll go Lukaku.
Lukaku 0.9 per game. Haaland 0.9 per game. Identical.
Wow.
Do you know what's really interesting when you look at this? Even when each other, barring their aerial duels, nearly everything they do is almost identical. Touches in the box per game. Who has the most touches in the box per game? KJ.
No, that's David. You haven't asked David one yet.
Sorry, David. Go on, bro. Sorry.
I think it's Haaland.
Haaland touches the ball in the box 5 times per game. Lukaku 4.
Only 5. I thought it'd be way more than that.
5.1 touches in the ball per game. Actually, do you know what I'll do? I can separate out and just look at Bundesliga only, just in the Bundesliga, and again, still 5.2. It don't really change too much. It goes up by like I took out all comps and just went to it's relatively the same. But that shows how potent he is. That includes like his touch and shot, bruv. It's a madness. But Lukaku's saying 4.5 times per game, and he's still putting all them balls into the back of the net. So yeah, I mean, very close. Super chat here says KJ Syria and international teams all play low lock. He means low block, and his stats are brilliant for both youngest player to get to 100 goals in the Prem. By the way, on Lukaku. Speaking about Lukaku, there.
Yeah, that's nice. Like that you got he's the youngest player to go to 100. You know what I'm saying? Most of them did come from when he was at Everton and West Brom. So there is that. Also about the low block from the internationals. Yeah, they do. But as I said, look at his best kind of goals and look at his strengths. His strengths are running in behind when there's space, start shoulder to shoulder with a defender while running forward. You don't want him facing your own goal. You just don't. And at Chelsea, he will do a lot of that. So he can score goals. I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying his strengths and how he scores goals does not suit the way Chelsea plays.
JJ, don't you think you're judging Lukaku based on your Manchester United fan lens, just based on what?
No, but it's not hate. I'm not hating on him though. It's not saying it. I'm saying he's crap. I'm not saying he's crap.
Oh yeah, I know. But just from what you have seen from him in United, sure.
No, but I'm saying his strengths lie somewhere else. I'm saying his strengths lie where his strengths lie. Like I've seen him for Inter. I've seen him for Belgium. I've seen him for Everton and West Brom. His best goals, and even for United, his best goals came from when he was running in behind and when he was running at people. That's when
you almost make an argument. Yeah. You can almost make an argument that between the two, Lukaku or Haaland, which one is the less riskier one? I'm not saying Lukaku is better, but I look at Lukaku, 100 goals in the Premier League. For Chelsea, I'm talking about Chelsea. For us, 100 goals in the Premier League, he is proven. We know exactly what we're getting from him. Haaland is still 19, 20. We don't know how he's going to perform against a low block. And he might actually take time to adapt to the Premier League. Yes, I know that he could be a world-class striker. But at the end of the day, we don't know how he's going to perform when he's in the league against a low block team. It might take him time to adjust, as it does with many players. So if we're looking to win the league title, say maybe next year or the year after, you could make an argument that maybe Lukaku is the less riskier of the two.
The thing is, if you think like that, you're never going to get anywhere. If you're constantly thinking about, this player could not perform, then there's no point. For me, it's quite simple. I think the better finisher is Haaland. We're going to make enough chances for both of these strikers to score goals. But if I was to put money on who will score more of them, I'm putting all my money on Haaland. Plus, Haaland's got 7 years on the fella. And Haaland is probably going to be one of the top 2 players in the world at some point. Yeah.
So do you know what's interesting as well? Someone said, how many touches do they have? Touches for me can be a little bit misleading because you might. It's how often
get tackled.
Yeah. So for me, it's like I look at how many times in a game they're receiving a pass. So how many times that the ball is passed to them per game. Staggering this. Lukaku 12.9 times per game. Haaland 12.1 times per game. So they're receiving the ball, passes into them. At the same. Interestingly, unsuccessful touches that lead to a loss of possession. Haaland 1.5 per game, Lukaku 2.4. So in terms of that first touch or losing the ball after the ball being played into you, so of those 12 passes in per game to Lukaku, 2.5 of them on average, he's going to lose possession. Haaland, 1.5 of them is going to lose possession. That's a cast iron fact that's going on. Listen, Blue Cloud TV, thank you for coming on, mate.
Terry, can I say one more thing, Terry?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to be on your channel. But can you do me a favor, please? Can you help my channel? I want my channel to grow high, just like, hey, you. Like you said, I'm also inspirational to you because I look up to you and do things that you do. And I pray that all the Chelsea fans will help join my channel also and then get to where you are.
Of course. Go check out Blue Clouds TV. We're all about sharing the wealth and helping them grow and moving forward. So go and do that right about now. Search Blue Clouds TV. Make sure you're over there supporting, doing what you're doing and whatnot, bro. But it's a pleasure to have you on. We love getting
Thank you, man. Thank you, Tan.
Different opinions, mate. Take care of yourself, bro.
All thanks, man. Thanks, man. You have a good one. You
too. Take care, bro. But yeah, it's an interesting debate, and I know Chelsea fans are going to think all sorts of different things about it. But the bit that's painful for me is Like, imagine this. Imagine like arguing over this. It's like, oh, do I want a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, bro? Do you know what I mean? Like, they're both really good options.
Two very good players.
You know what I mean? We're linked with Ben White, bro. We're linked with Ben White.
Nah,
Ben
we're
White's a
linked
baller,
with
though.
Patson Daka, bro. Nah, I can't deal with
Hey,
it.
a gal would love that. Why sign Haaland when you can get Patson Daka?
I know, it's mad. It's mad. It's absolutely crazy. Listen, everyone who's tuned in this afternoon, I kept on saying this morning, thank you very, very much. We'll be back later today with another tiering show. I'm really excited about this one. It's going to be a good bit of fun. Tonight, that Spurs podcast comes out as well, Eleanor's show, so make sure you're all tuning in for that. Smash the like and the share button, sign up to the Discord server. Big shout out to our title sponsors, Manscaped. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again.